Every evening, people they stand for road. They try find way to reach house. They know they see. Every evening, people they stand for road. They try find way to reach house. They know they see. Sometimes they go wait from morning till night. They no go see motor. Sometimes if they can't even see motor, if they enter the motor, you go yes in na one chance. One chance na read something. No, tomorrow we want talk about am. We want talk about safety. We want make people they feel reach out. Make people know they die throw away. Join the DS25 Breakfast Show. Make we talk about mobility wey dey inclusive. Friday the 27th of June by 10 a.m. 92 we go start. Join using the link in bio.
I've had a medical checkup, not because you were sick. Is it true that young people feel that checking your blood pressure is an old people thing?
Issues about stigma when it comes to a young girl accessing said and already have commodities is not a new thing. What we preach is abstinence. We empower individuals with information for them to make informed choice about their health. People have to learn how to grow big and learn how to grow vegetables at home. So it helps you to eat healthier. Food is medicine, food is health. Whenever you take something, ask yourself, what is this going to do for me?
I have exercised at least 4 times this week.
The second hashtag is say yes to self-care.
She wakes before the sun, feeds the family, holds the home, and sometimes forgets to hold herself. Maternal health isn't just a visit to the hospital. It's care, it's dignity, it's knowing she deserves to pause and be well. Say yes to self-care. Say yes to maternal well-being, because thriving mothers raise thriving nations. Join the GS25 Breakfast Talk Show themed Say Yes to Self-Care. Date Friday, August 8th, 2025. Time 9 a.m. Be there.
Today is the first ever one-day dialogue on menopause, and it's taking place in Abuja, and very timely because it's a conversation that isn't had. And I've gone through a lot of my experiences because of menopause, and I thought it was important that I know that I'm not the only one going through this, and we need to talk about it. Everybody that knows me knows that I'm a go-getter, I'm hardworking, I'm logical, I'm a processor, I'm a planner, I'm organized. I play my chess in everything that I'm doing just to make sure that I get the end result that I need. And here was I taking a monumental decision and didn't realize that I needed clarity, and that was I sold my house. I started going through what I've now come to understand was depression, and I wasn't going out, I wasn't thinking clearly at all. But when I was even having the tiny conversations, nobody told me that it could affect me mentally, and so I became one of those vulnerable ones that I would be in my head about it, and I just couldn't process. And so somebody tells me about the gender inclusion event. Before I knew it, I was on a panel in PIC. When I sat on that panel, there was a socio-economic aspect of the urban living, especially the face me, I face you type system. And it was just interesting to see how the correlation was made and how women were even the ones that are even suffering it. PIC opened my eye to that, that the gender inclusion is just the issue of putting a woman and let's put them on board, let's put them in this place, let's put them in this. No, but even part of her life I excluded for her. When it was time to do this, I reached out to the doctor and said, Doctor, I even want you to come and talk because you are doing the gender inclusion and you're doing the socio-economic aspect of it. We need to know about the socio-economic aspect of the effect of menopause. But then look at it, it's inclusion. That this part of a woman's life is excluded from her life and is part of her life. Let's include it. Let's talk about it.
It is my distinct pleasure to welcome Your Excellencies, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, to the Gender and Inclusion Summit 2024.
To show the seriousness of the conversation around gender, it was first of all important to have a dedicated platform that would see the conversation happen annually.
The Gender and Inclusion Summit allows us, not just on gender, but on all other types of exclusion, to have a deeper set of evidence-driven conversations.
Gender and Inclusion Summit kicked off in 2022. We had 700 people in the room in Transcorp. We had over 3,000 people join virtually. And we had some people outside of Nigeria.
We had a lot of policy-focused conversations, and immediately we said, you know what, we're not letting this die here. So first of all, we're going to ensure that we create a publication that guarantees that post-summit people can make reference to the conversation, use that as an advocacy tool into the coming year. And that's how we developed the Purple Book.
Purple Book is basically a policy and program recommendation that is derived from the summit. So we put it in a concise document, and then this serves as an advocacy tool for discussion to be had.
Over the next few years, we see the Gender and Inclusion Summit as that place people want to be every September, not just to curate conversations, but to really enrich their personal experience, professional experience, their organizational experience, and bring together cutting-edge collaborations that would advance gender equity in Africa.
Thank you so much. I'm looking forward to engaging in 2025.
What does inclusion really mean? In education, it means access, equity, and dignity. Are all children learning in systems that reflect their realities? In agriculture, it's about land, voice, and value. Who gets to own, decide, and benefit? Home ownership is a right, not a privilege. How can housing be a path to dignity and security? Tech for who? Tech by who? Inclusion means ensuring digital tools don't deepen existing divides. Health systems must serve everybody, rural, urban, persons living with disabilities, poor. To build inclusion, we must ask hard questions. Who's missing? Who decides? Who benefits?
Sometimes we get stuck in the old, so we think that it's only a certain persona of people who need to speak out or make their voices heard or use their platforms to advance inclusion. GS25 really provides that opportunity for us to bring new conversations to the table. And then we want to have that very big conversation that helps us to just look at where the gaps are and what we can do to begin to bridge those gaps.
GS25. It's time to take action.
Every evening, people they stand for road. They try find way to reach house. They know they see. Sometimes they go wait from morning till night. They no go see motor. Sometimes if they can't even see motor, if they enter the motor, you go yes in now one chance. One chance now read something. No, tomorrow we want to talk about her. We want to talk about safety. We want make people they feel reach out. Make people know they die throw away. Join the DS25 Breakfast Show make we talk about mobility wey dey inclusive. Friday the 27th of June by 10 a.m. 92 we go start. Join using the link in bio.
I've had a medical checkup, not because you were sick. Is it true that young people feel that checking your blood pressure is an old people thing?
Issues about stigma when it comes to a young girl accessing certain health commodities is not a new thing. What we preach is abstinence. We empower individuals with information for them to make informed choice about their health.
People have to learn how to grow big and learn how to grow vegetables at home. So it helps you to eat healthier. Food is medicine, food is health. Whenever you take something, ask yourself, what is this going to do for me?
I have exercised at least 4 times this week.
The second hashtag is say yes to self-care.
She wakes before the sun, feeds the family, holds the home, and sometimes forgets to hold herself. Maternal health isn't just a visit to the hospital. It's care, it's dignity, it's knowing she deserves to pause and be well. Say yes to self-care. Say yes to maternal well-being, because thriving mothers raise thriving nations. Join the GS25 Breakfast Talk Show themed Say Yes to Self-Care. Date Friday, August 8th, 2025. Time 9 a.m. Be there.
Today is the first ever one-day dialogue on menopause, and it's taking place in Abuja, and very timely because it's a conversation that isn't had. And I've gone through a lot of my experiences because of menopause, and I thought it was important that I know that I'm not the only one going through this, and we need to talk about it. Everybody that knows me knows that I'm a go-getter, I'm hardworking, you know, I'm logical, I'm a processor, I'm a planner, I'm organized. I play my chess in everything that I'm doing just to make sure that I get the end result that I need. And here was I taking a monumental decision and didn't realize that I needed clarity, and that was I sold my house. I started going through what I've now come to understand was depression, and I wasn't going out, I wasn't thinking clearly at all. But when I was even having the tiny conversations, nobody told me that, you know, it could affect me mentally, and so I became one of those vulnerable ones that I would be in my head about it, and I just couldn't process. And so somebody tells me about the gender inclusion event. Before I knew it, I was on a panel in PIC. When I sat on that panel, there was a socio-economic aspect of the urban living, especially the face me, I face you type system. And it was just interesting to see how the correlation was made and how women were even the ones that are even suffering it. PIC opened my eye to that, you know, that the gender inclusion is just the issue of putting a woman and let's put them on board, let's put them in this place, let's put them in this. No, but even part of her life, I excluded for her. When it was time to do this, I reached out to the doctor and said, Doctor, you know, I even want you to come and talk because you are doing the gender inclusion and you're doing the socio-economic aspect of it. We need to know about the socio-economic aspect of the effect of menopause. But then look at it, it's inclusion. That this part of a woman's life is excluded from her life and is part of her life. Let's include it. Let's talk about it.
It is my distinct pleasure to welcome Your Excellencies, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, to the Gender and Inclusion Summit 2024.
To show the seriousness of the conversation around gender, it was first of all important to have a dedicated platform that would see the conversation happen annually.
The Gender and Inclusion Summit allows us, not just on gender, but on all other types of exclusion, to have a deeper set of evidence-driven conversations.
Gender and Inclusion Summit kicked off in 2022. We had 700 people in the room in Transcorp. We had over 3,000 people join virtually. And we had some people outside of Nigeria.
We had a lot of policy-focused conversations, and immediately we said, you know what, we're not letting this die here. So first of all, we're going to ensure that we create a publication that guarantees that post-summit people can make reference to the conversation, use that as an advocacy tool into the coming year. And that's how we developed the Purple Book.
Purple Book is basically a policy and program recommendation that is derived from the summit. So we put it in a concise document, and then this serves as an advocacy tool for discussion to be had.
Over the next few years, we see the Gender and Inclusion Summit as that place people want to be every September, not just to curate conversations, but to really enrich their personal experience, professional experience, their organizational experience, and bring together cutting-edge collaborations that would advance gender equity in Africa.
Thank you so much. I'm looking forward to engaging in 2025.
What does inclusion really mean? In education, it means access, equity, and dignity. Are all children learning in systems that reflect their realities? In agriculture, it's about land, voice, and value. Who gets to own, decide, and benefit? Home ownership is a right, not a privilege. How can housing be a path to dignity and security? Tech for who? Tech by who? Inclusion means ensuring digital tools don't deepen existing divides. Health systems must serve everybody, rural, urban, persons living with disabilities, poor. To build inclusion, we must ask hard questions. Who's missing? Who decides? Who benefits?
Sometimes we get stuck in the old, so we think that it's only a certain persona of people who need to speak out or make their voices heard or use their platforms to advance inclusion. GS25 really provides that opportunity for us to bring new conversations to the table. And then we want to have that very big conversation that helps us to just look at where the gaps are and what we can do to begin to bridge those gaps.
GS25. It's time to take action.
Every evening, people they stand for road. They try find way to reach out. They know they see. Sometimes they go wait from morning till night. They no go see motor. Sometimes if they can't even see motor, if they enter the motor, you go yes say na one chance. One chance na read something. No, tomorrow we want to talk about that. We want to talk about safety. We want make people they feel reach out. Make people know they die throw away. Join the DS25 Breakfast Show. Make we talk about mobility wey dey inclusive. Friday the 27th of June by 10 a.m. 92 we go start. Join using the link in bio.
I've had a medical checkup, not because you were sick. Is it true that young people feel that checking your blood pressure is an old people thing?
Issues about stigma when it comes to a young girl accessing certain already have commodities is not a new thing. What we preach is abstinence. We empower individuals with information for them to make informed choice about their health. People have to learn how to grow, they can learn how to grow vegetables at home. So it helps you to eat healthier. Food is medicine, food is health. Whenever you take something, ask yourself, what is it going to do for me?
I have exercised at least 4 times this week.
The second hashtag is say yes to self-care.
She wakes before the sun, feeds the family, holds the home, and sometimes forgets to hold herself. Maternal health isn't just a visit to the hospital. It's care, it's dignity, it's knowing she deserves to pause and be well. Say yes to self-care. Say yes to maternal well-being, because thriving mothers raise thriving nations. Join the GS25 Breakfast Talk Show themed Say Yes to Self-Care. Date, Friday, August 8th, 2025. Time, 9 a.m. Be there.
Today is the first ever one-day dialogue on menopause, and it's taking place in Abuja, and very timely because it's a conversation that isn't had. And I've gone through a lot of my experiences because of menopause, and I thought it was important that I know that I'm not the only one going through this, and we need to talk about it. Everybody that knows me knows that I'm a go-getter, I'm hardworking, you know, I'm logical, I'm a processor, I'm a planner, I'm organized. I play my chess in everything that I'm doing just to make sure that I get the end result that I need. And here was I taking a monumental decision and didn't realize that I needed clarity, and that was I sold my house. I started going through what I've now come to understand was depression, and I wasn't going out, I wasn't thinking clearly at all. But when I was even having the tiny conversations, nobody told me that, you know, it could affect me mentally. And so I became one of those vulnerable ones that I would be in my head about it, and I just couldn't process. And so somebody tells me about the gender inclusion event. Before I knew it, I was on a panel in PIC. When I sat on that panel, there was a socio-economic aspect of the urban living, especially the face me, I face you type system. And it was just interesting to see how the correlation was made and how women were even the ones that are even suffering it. PIC opened my eye to that, you know, that the gender inclusion is just the issue of putting a woman and let's put them on board, let's put them in this place, let's put them in this. No, but even part of her life, I excluded for her. When it was time to do this, I reached out to the doctor and said, Doctor, you know, I even want you to come and talk because you are doing the gender inclusion and you're doing the socio-economic aspect of it. We need to know about the socio-economic aspect of the effect of menopause. But then look at it, it's inclusion. That this part of a woman's life is excluded from her life and is part of her life. Let's include it. Let's talk about it.
It is my distinct pleasure to welcome Your Excellencies, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, to the Gender and Inclusion Summit 2024.
To show the seriousness of the conversation around gender, it was first of all important to have a dedicated platform that would see the conversation happen annually.
The Gender and Inclusion Summit allows us, not just on gender, but on all other types of exclusion, to have a deeper set of evidence-driven conversations.
Gender and Inclusion Summit kicked off in 2022. We had 700 people in the room in Transcorp. We had over 3,000 people joined virtually. And we had some people outside of Nigeria.
We had a lot of policy-focused conversations, and immediately we said, you know what, we're not letting this die here. So first of all, we're going to ensure that we create a publication that guarantees that post-summit people can make reference to the conversation, use that as an advocacy tool into the coming year. And that's how we developed the Purple Book.
Purple Book is basically a policy and program recommendation that is derived from the summit. So we put it in a concise document, and then this serves as an advocacy tool for discussion to be had.
Over the next few years, we see the Gender and Inclusion Summit as that place people want to be every September, not just to curate conversations, but to really enrich their personal experience, professional experience, their organizational experience, and bring together cutting-edge collaborations that would advance gender equity in Africa.
Thank you so much. I'm looking forward to engaging in 2025.
What does inclusion really mean? In education, it means access, equity, and dignity. Are all children learning in systems that reflect their realities? In agriculture, it's about land, voice, and value. Who gets to own, decide, and benefit? Home ownership is a right, not a privilege. How can housing be a path to dignity and security? Tech for who? Tech by who? Inclusion means ensuring digital tools don't deepen existing divides. Health systems must serve everybody, rural, urban, persons living with disabilities, poor. To build inclusion, we must ask hard questions. Who's missing? Who decides? Who benefits?
Sometimes we get stuck in the old, so we think that it's only a certain persona of people who need to speak out or make their voices heard or use their platforms to advance inclusion. GS25 really provides that opportunity for us to bring new conversations to the table. And then we want to have that very big conversation that helps us to just look at where the gaps are and what we can do to begin to bridge those gaps.
GS25. It's time to take action.
Every evening, people they stand for road. They try find way to reach out. They know they see. Sometimes they go wait from morning till night. They no go see motor. Sometimes if they can't even see motor, if they enter the motor, you go yes in a one chance. One chance na read something. No, tomorrow we won't talk about her. We won't talk about safety. We won't make people they feel reach out. Make people know they die throw away. Join the DS25 Breakfast Show. Make we talk about mobility wey dey inclusive. Friday the 27th of June by 10 a.m. 92 we go start. Join using the link in bio.
I've had a medical checkup, not because you
Oh, shit.
Mic check. All right, thank you very much, Alexis. Thank you for the great work. To all of our distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, we would like to ask you to please return to the main hall. We need to reconvene now so we can continue the business of the day. So if you're having some networking session, if you're trying to finish your lunch, now is the time for us to reconvene so we can continue with the business of the day. It's still day one of the Gender and Inclusion Summit 2025, and we want to set the ball, well, we want to continue with the session for today. So please, if you're outside, kindly come back inside. I'm tempted to say I have something for the first 100 people that come back inside. So for the first 100 people that come back inside, I have something special for you, a special handshake. But please, let's come back inside. Now is the time for us to reconvene. So we have about 30 seconds to 60 seconds to please come inside. Else, you are going to miss my very special handshake. So your time starts now. I'll be counting down from 60. And I need the ushers to please help me inform them. The ushers, the floor manager as well, please help to inform them. So we have 40 seconds left. If you're outside, kindly come back inside. I'm going to do something I don't do always. I'll come and waylay you myself and drag you inside.
All right. So please keep in mind that we're transitioning to more breakout sessions now. So we have them across 4 different halls. There is one happening right here, if you'd like to stay for that one. It's Mobility for All, Innovating for Safer and More Inclusive Transportation. And that will be anchored by the gentleman of the press himself, Kayode Okikiolu. So that's Mobility for All, Innovating for Safer and More Inclusive Transportation. So that breakout is happening right here in this room. At Acacia A and B, we have From Barriers to Access, Addressing HPV Vaccination Disparities in Nigeria. So that breakout session is happening at Acacia A and B. It's being moderated by Dr. Ishak Lawal. All right, and the next one, happening at Obecha A and B, is Beyond the Seat, Building Systems that Support Women in Cabinets, boardrooms, and workplaces.
All right, thank you very much.
Hi, Kayode.
I apologize. I've been waylaying people to come inside. Buki, forgive me. I'm also
you're
doing the
fine.
work outside. So for the first 100 people that return, I promise to give you a very special gift. How many people do we have so far now? About 20. All right, so there's a special gift for the first 100 people to return to their seats. So if you're outside, please do not miss out on it. Buki, over to you. Let me continue doing the work outside.
All right. Yes, so the next one, we have 4 breakout sessions, just to reiterate. We have 4 breakout sessions happening simultaneously right now. So the one in this room is the one around transportation, mobility for all, innovating for safer and more inclusive transportation. It's happening in this main hall. At Acacia A and B, we are from barriers to access, addressing HPV vaccination disparities in Nigeria. And it's been anchored by Dr. Ishak Lawal, consultant OBGYN FMC Benin Kebbi, and also the CEO of End Cervical Cancer Nigeria. We also have Beyond the Seat, building systems that support women in cabinets, boardrooms, and workplaces. That is being anchored by Abosede George Organ. It's happening at Obecha A and B. Abosede is the founder and executive director of Wheelan Global. So if you want to learn how to build systems that support women in cabinets, boardrooms, and workplaces, please head out to Obecha A and B. And we have the final one happening at Ballroom 4. Future Women Business Center model. That's happening Kwamande, Nato Rural. Attend the one on transportation, right, and building inclusive mobility. If not, please head to one of the other halls where other breakout sessions are happening. Music, please. Music. Forum 4, just next door. Yes, next door. So for those who are just walking in, just to reiterate, there is a session happening in this room, a breakout session, Mobility for All. It's around inclusive transportation. If you want to attend that, please stay in this room. If not, there is one happening on HPV vaccination, from barriers to access, addressing HPV vaccination disparities in Nigeria. That's happening at Acacia A and B. And we also have one on building systems that support women in boardrooms, cabinets, and workplaces. If you'd like to attend that, that's happening at Obecha A and B. All the rooms are labeled, so please look out for that. And the last one is happening just next door at Ballroom 4, Financing a Women-Led Future, Women Business Center model. If you want to learn about that, please join the conversation in Ballroom 4. Thank you. We're going to start the one in this room momentarily.
All right, I think we'll just give 30 more seconds for people to return so we can start the plenary that we'll be holding right here. And I must say that I'm honored to be moderating the plenary on mobility for all, innovation for safer and more inclusive transportation. But just before we start the plenary, I'd like to ask or encourage all of us to please move forward. I'm sensing that the seats in front do not have owners. Nobody is designated. I'm talking about the seats from the third row, not the first and second. So please, I encourage us to please come forward. If you're seated all the way at the back, kindly come forward. So we'll start from the third row. So we'll leave the first and the second, and then we can take our seats in the third row. So we can reserve that for some of our guests. So please, if you're behind all the way back, kindly come forward. So you can also be a part of this, and we can have a compact arrangement here. Thank you very much. So I'm going to go over to Sid and invite the panelists on this plenary. Thank you. Okay, so while we try to wait for the room to be more populated, we have a video that I would like to show you. So I'll ask the media team to please put up that video and please turn your attention to the screens behind me. Thank you very much.
Every evening, people they stand for road. They try find way to reach house. They know they see. Sometimes they go wait from morning till night. They no go see motor. Sometimes if they can't even see motor, if they enter the motor, you go yes in a one chance. One chance now read something. We want to talk about safety. We want make people they feel reach out. Make people know they die throw away. Join the DS25 breakfast show. Make we talk about mobility where they inclusive.
We had a very interesting session last year at the Gender and Inclusion Summit. And one of the things that we came up was this issue of transportation in our urban areas.
When it comes to transport in particular, Wagwalada is 55 kilometers from here. 55 kilometers. And there is barely a single public bus that you can get. The master plan had a pretty good public transport plan. It has not been delivered. There's no Danfos in Abuja like there are in Lagos. Imagine Lagos without Danfos. Like, you can't. But that is, Abuja is Lagos without Danfos. But it's very, very hard to get around. And this has particular impact on women. There is a security crisis associated with taxis. Everyone is afraid of one-chance robberies.
Yes, we have a great master plan, but we don't have access. All over the world, people don't live in the central business districts. The challenge for us is that we need mass transit system.
And a society be truly productive if people cannot move from one spot to another. And a society be productive if I cannot move my goods from one spot to another. So thinking through this and knowing that it's impossible to have a truly inclusive society without solving for mobility, that's why we felt that coming from the 2024 Gender and Inclusion Summit, it was important to spotlight this.
It made me to squat, asked me to open my stamping, I did. So I was bleeding and pleading. So they pushed me out. Each time I see any black car, and I see a man, he's always giving me that.
So once you are not vigilant, you don't know the trend of all, that is happening. You can be what? You can be a victim.
Some people say that they are in is when you told them to this is park, they won't listen to us.
Imagine you could see. I can't see. So imagine me in the scenario of a one chance.
We have traffic congestion. We have bad roads, yes.
Something that you've got going on. Maybe
we cannot afford
to let people operate public transport in this manner without them being registered to a platform. They must have an identity. If they do not have an identity, they can always hide under that cloak of lack of identity to perpetrate any form of evil.
There should be a workshop where they educate drivers on how to handle passengers, and especially for persons with disability.
Take responsibility for my life to Jesus, take the lead. Sin is in my way, hell is in my face. If I lose my way, don't be far away.
Thank you very much. Let's put our hands together. I mean, great work curating all of that. Please let's put our hands together and appreciate the work that went into that. You know, every item on the agenda today has been specially curated for the Gender and Inclusion Summit to add to the voices, ensure that everybody is heard. We're going to start the plenary for this main hall on mobility for all, innovating for safer and more inclusive transportation. And I'll just quickly welcome the panelists on the first part of this plenary. So as I invite them, I'd like you to please make them welcome with a warm round of applause. The first on this plenary is a businesswoman from Orange Market as well. And we have a representative from JONAP, that's the Association of People with Disability. Let's put our hands together for Kenneth Echiche. And of course, we have a secretary in charge, FCT NURTW, Alhaji Bashir G. Bello. I understand he's been represented here, so please let's put our hands together for his representative as it comes up as well. So the first part of this plenary will see us speak with everyday users of the road and the transport system. And the point is to basically give floor to those whose daily lives revolve around our transport system. And we have, yes, a market woman, a businesswoman on this panel. We have a Bolt driver on this panel as well. We have a person with disability. And we have a NURTW, that's the National Union of Road Transport Workers, that's a drivers' union. So this part of this plenary is to give us a real-life account of road users, everyday Nigerians like you and I, speaking to their experience. And I'll begin with a road user. By the way, I want you to please introduce yourself, sir, so we know who you are. We know you're representing the FCT and URTW, but please introduce yourself so we'll meet you.
Good evening, everybody.
Yeah.
I want to stand on the existing protocol. My name is Daniel Clements Moses. I am standing in for the FCT Secretary of the NURTW FCT Council.
Thank you very much. So I want us to do a quick one, because this part is going to last for about 15 plus minutes. So as much as possible, I want us to capture a lot. And I'll begin with you, Madam Mary Ogu. What is your daily experience like using public transport? What works and what needs improvement for you?
First of all, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you, the organizers of the program, for giving me this opportunity to speak our experience as a women out there in the market, especially the road users. It's not easy, but we bless God, we keep on moving. Sometimes, when it comes to the transportation, where I paid 400 naira before to go to the market, it's paid 1,500 now. Though, because of this rainy season, and again, as a market woman, it's not really easy to access the road. Sometimes, because of the transportation high rates now, you bought a goose, you find yourself trekking 2 poles with your load to get more cheaper rates of transport. Because if you stay there to enter the vehicle, it's more costly. And at the end of the day, you have no gain for what you bought. You might calculate your gain as in, I'm getting 10,000 naira. But at the end of the day, after transport, you find to Orange Market, a woman bought something up to a bag of rice, and some could there. She has to carry it on her head with her hand. She slumped. But glory be to God, this morning I visited her. She's alive. That's what we face as a challenge. The transportation is too high. The rate is high. And when you go to the market, things are costly. What you buy today at increased by 600, double fold of what you bought. We begin to ask questions. Though some of us believe in God, having faith to struggle it till death call us, also having a faith that we are going to make it. In this kind of society, we want our voice to be heard as a market women. We need the roads, transportation, the fuel. We need all this to come so that we can be helped. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. And I know this is the experience of a lot of us. This is real life right here. And just before I come to you, Mrs. Ejeje, I want to go over to the NURTW representative here because she said something that touches on your services, right? So give us your own side of the story, because for them, the cost of transportation is almost prohibitive. It's too expensive for them. So why is it expensive? Why are your charges high?
The transportation system is reformed. And on our part, as a transport union, we have carried out several reforms recently, targeting security and the cost of transportation. On our part, we have partnered with the security agencies to ensure that there is safety.
Right.
By ensuring that our marshals are trained. We have seasonal trainings for our marshals. Those are the people you meet at the bus stops and various motor parks. Those people you engage with. We partner with the road safety, the Hospital Emergency Foundation, the NEMA, to ensure that our people understand how to treat the commuters so that they can have safety while they are commuting across the FCT.
All right. Just a moment. I see you're speaking to safety. We'll get there, but I wanted you to just quickly respond to the point she made. But let me come to Mrs. Ejeje. We'll come back to you. I think you have a lot of responses for us today within the time that we have. And I want to ask you, Mrs. Ejeje, what challenges and opportunities do you encounter as a ride-hailing service provider? Because you operate in another segment of the market that equally serves members of the public.
First, I must establish that transportation is the bedrock in our society and in our economy, right? And this is one of the most imbalanced gender sector. The sector is imbalanced. Women are not included. And even when women are included, in the few ones that are included in the sector are abused, right? They're maltreated, they're disrespected. Even from our fellow women, right? You get this disrespect and abuse that comes with it. And so gender inclusion is a major thing that we have to do in this sector. First, there must be an advocacy out there that this is a source of income and a source of living for people. I've been in this business for 3 years, running a company at the international airport. So most times, the insecurity that comes with it in the system, we don't really encounter it because you tend to deal with premium clients from the airport down into the city center. Yeah. But for the few ones, the organizations that we have, the few drivers we have, by the time you get information, we try to get data from them. The roads are unsafe, drivers are disrespected, they are abused. And even in the airport, where you feel it's a premium and a more civilized environment, women are not welcome, literally, from the men.
Well, we clearly need to do better. And I'm looking at data here. It says over 80% of women report experiencing harassment on public transport. Women spend up to 29% of their income on public transport, and women's trips are 10 to 30% shorter than men's, and immobility rates range from 19% for women versus 11% for men. Looks like the odds are really stacked against women, and that's why we're having this conversation. But there's another data that I must speak to here, and that takes me to Mr. Echiche. It says that people with disabilities make up 10 to 20% of Africa's population. That's give or take about 80 million people. And 42% of disabilities are mobility related, yet public transport remains largely inaccessible. There are no ramps, no accommodations, etc. So Mr. Chiche, I want to ask you to share some of the unique barriers that you face when commuting in our Nigerian context, and what would make that system more inclusive for you?
All right, thank you very much. I want to thank the opportunity given to us from the Joint National Association of Persons with Disability to voice. I'm happy with the theme of these great events that talks about new voices and new approaches, and meaning that we are going to be telling you different things that we need, emerging trends and approaches that we can use to solve the problems of persons with disability, especially as it relates to mobility. The question is, persons with disability, do they need to move from one place to another? Of course, yes. It is in the human nature that you move from one place to another. And now, because of that, we have peculiar issues. When you say women are more subtle to transport-related hazards, I say persons with disability suffer times 20 of that. Thank you for the figure you rolled out. Talking about almost 15% of Nigerian population is made up of persons with disability, and this 50%, calculatively, you are talking about 35 million. 35 million persons with disability left unattended to, especially when it comes to public transportation. What are the issues here? There are attitudinal issues, we have policy issues, there are no proper arrangements for persons with disability. Look at the roads. There are no pathways for persons who cannot see. I cannot see as a person sitting down here, but does that mean I should sit down in my house because I cannot see? With all the great potentials, my contribution to the society should be left at my roof because of disability? And I dare to say, the disability you are seeing, it is because of the barriers that are making disability what it is. Therefore, I give you a new definition of disability. It is impairment versus barrier equals to disability. When you remove the barriers, from our way, the disability is no longer there. Meaning that if proper policies and documentations are made, the roads are made accessible, there are ramps and all these things are put in place, there will be no disability. And therefore it calls that every one of us should come together. All hands must be on deck. Another problem we have is this. Most time policies are made without us. You can't make a policy that concerns persons with disability. Look at the master plan of Abuja. Please, can you go and check where persons with disability was included in the master plan? It is not there. And then if it continuously, now look at the CNG buses that are being rolled out. There are no provision for persons with disability. In the CNG buses, we don't have ramps. Imagine how indignifying it might look when a person on wheelchair wants to climb into the bus. Sometimes even the drivers, I'm happy the NUT they are here. We have a peculiar challenge with them. Sometimes when they see a person with disability on the road, they don't zoom off because they don't have the time to be able to help that person to guide him, put his wheelchair together for him to be able to access public transport. And an inclusive society is a society where everyone is carried along. If we are not carried along in the public transportation, I don't think there is inclusiveness. And this is what I want to see, that until the society looks at us beyond what they see, that is the disability, that is when it is inclusive. And I conclude by saying, by the time I am seen, not by the size of the wheelchair that my colleagues sit on, or not by the length of the white cane I carry, not by the dramatic display of the sign language a hearing impaired person uses, but I'm seen by the content of my heart and my brain. That is when the society is surely inclusive. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Echiche. That was indeed powerful. We're constrained and even restrained by time today, but I'd like to say that this has been very productive, and I want to thank everyone on this panel for your patience and for sharing these very important insights. And naturally, these will form policies that will be developed for the transport sector. I'd like to thank Mary Ogu, businesswoman, Orange Market. I'd also like to thank Managing Director of SRE Services and Logistics, Mrs. Glory Ejeje. Of course, the representative of the Joint National Association of Persons with Disabilities, Mr. Kenneth Echiche, and the representative of the Secretary in Charge, FCT NURTW, Mr. Daniel Clement. We'd like to thank you so much for your time. Because of the constraints we have, we're not able to take more questions, but we have to switch gears to the part 2 of this plenary. But please, thank you very much for your time. Let's put our hands together for them as they take their seats. I look like a very wicked person right now, but it's not me, I promise. It is a time. But we can take quick photographs before you take your seats, please. Let's put our hands together for them as they take their seats. Because of a time, we have to move things along quickly, but this has been productive nonetheless. All right, thank you very much. We're going to go on to part 2 of this plenary. The first part, of course, we had voices from the road, the market woman, the everyday road user, the person with disability, and a representative of a transport union. But it's time to hear from sector leaders and policy makers on solutions and innovation. So we're sort of building this up. And I'd like to welcome the panelists right now to join me on stage so we can move this conversation forward. So I really hope that they're here with us as I welcome them on stage. Thank you very much. We have a CEO, God is Good Motors, Mr. Enahoro Okai, joins us today. He has such a fan base. I heard people screaming as soon as I called his name. Let's put our hands together for him as he comes up. You're welcome. Anyway, we also have on this second part of the plenary, Dr. Julius Oluwafumini Ajayi, Transport and Logistics Specialist, joins us this afternoon. Let's put our hands together for him as he comes up. Also on this plenary is the head AHR, Federal Road Safety Corps, DCC Okwe Ekwe Omadachi. Let's put our hands together for her as well. And the head of Regulatory and Policy Africa at Bolt Nigeria, Wemi Agadiuno. Let's put our hands together for her. I hope I did well. Please put your hands together for me too. It's a tough show. Thank you very much for joining us. All right, I'm also told that we have on this plenary Mrs. Florence Okonkwo, the FCTA Permanent Secretary. Please let's put our hands together for her as she comes up. She joined us a while ago, and I noticed she sat and she was soaking everything in. Please let's keep clapping as she comes up to the podium. You're welcome, madam. Thank you very much for joining us. There's an empty seat beside me. I don't know, is everybody running from me? Please sit close to me. I do not bite. Thank you very much, madam. So this plenary will be speaking, of course, to the policies that will shape the transport sector. We heard from the everyday road users about their experience, the person with disability, how it looks like the transport sector just leaves them behind, the market woman who has to spend a lot on transport just to ensure that our goods are sold. And you can imagine what happens to the profit margin, which is why you are
vital to this conversation. Let me begin with Mr. Okai, because the private sector plays a major role in all of this. Being someone from the private sector, you've been driving innovation and the rest. So this is sort of comparing notes, right? I want you to speak to, yes, okay, that's good. I want you to speak to how it works in the private sector. What are the things that decide how you innovate for the users, and how is that process of innovation like, such that you know that we're really serving the people that are underserved, those who are vulnerable, or those who are left behind?
All right. Good afternoon, everyone. Excited to be here, and well done to the entire team putting this together. When that man was speaking, it was a bit emotional, and I felt it deeply in my soul. I had to look back to my regional manager and say, we have people like him traveling, yeah? And he said yes, just to remind me, how do we innovate for this? I mean, the basis of innovation is to solve problems. So basically, what we do at GIG Mobility is to look at the problem at hand and say, how do we solve it? But what we have done basically is to jump forward even years ago to ensure that technology is the basis for everything. So we have used technology in such a way that even before this kind of problems and before this kind of discussion ensues, we have solved it much ahead. The bigger problem for inclusion would be the fact that our sector is largely not regulated, right? That is the big issue. And so because there's so much informal activities going on, there's no way an informal arrangement can take care of people with disabilities or women and children. So it is the innovation to create formal environment like we've done in GIG that has solved these problems much ahead. And so I just give you practical examples so that we're not talking stories. And so imagine going to a park where there are no offices, right, where there are no experienced officers, where there are no securities. I came in from Abidjan yesterday, just still looking at the mobility sector in Africa, and it is largely the same. But if you stroll into a GIGM terminal, you feel the formal arrangement already. Now that creates a sense of safety. The beginning of the journey and the end of the journey, you're starting from a terminal where there is security, where there is CCTV, where there are educated employees who are respecting you, where there are loaders who, they see a woman coming to the terminal, their job is to go collect the luggage and carry it because we can't see them not doing it. And that's where it starts from. And so there's a lot of awareness in our organization that should be in the entire transport sector. The awareness is such that you don't joke with women and children. And so if we see a teenager in our terminal that somebody else comes to pick, the person coming to pick that teenager must have a document that aligns with what they've told us. We have had situations where we have stopped human trafficking, right, because our captains, we call them captains, our drivers, they are aware that you don't just pick teenagers in the terminal. And so the formality of the transport sector is very important because that's the beginning of ensuring that there's inclusion. When people are able to go into an environment, I'm sure a lot of ladies here are tired of trying to travel and then somebody's dragging your back by the bus stop, come and travel with us, come and travel with us. Yeah, but imagine just what happens to a lady at that point. That's harassment. But when you walk into a formal environment where your bag is collected from you, where somebody like my brother that just finished speaking passionately can stay in his house and book his transport, right, because even with his quote and unquote disability, he can download the app on his phone, he can book his travel without going to the terminal. Nobody will harass him. And then when he gets to the terminal, our people are already aware that you take care of our guests. We don't even call them passengers, we call them guests. And that awareness is the most important thing. So just to start the conversation, the awareness plus the formal arrangements Regulation is part of formal. Environment is part of formal. A place where there's CCTV, a place where there's security, a place that is gated. When you begin to put all of that together, you're already solving the inclusion problem.
That's a very interesting point you make there. Fantastic. And I'll just take this to Waimi naturally, because you sort of operate in that same ecosystem, trying to innovate, do things better. And maybe share your experience as well, because this is meant to be sharing experiences, right? About how digital platforms and ride-sharing apps like yours are changing urban mobility. And I want us to maybe sneak in cost as well, because when you talk about awareness, making it formal, a lot of people are thinking more money. We're going to be paying more, naturally. So Waimi, over to you. How are you changing urban mobility, bearing in mind those challenges?
All right, thank you. Good evening, everyone. Standing on all existing protocols. From the tech mobility perspective, I think we do a lot of data-driven innovations, and it actually informs the business and how we actually drive changes in the sector. So looking at inclusivity, we say, how can we ensure that we have more women on the platform? And safety and security will be our main focus. So that's one area we're always trying to tackle. How do we make it safer for women? So with mobility platforms, what we try to do is to create tech assistance on the platform that the drivers and passengers can use. So when you get on a ride, on a boat ride, you're sure that you can share your trip with other people. There's a panic button, right? And even before you go on a trip, there's something we call faceplate share. We would always advise you, don't get into a car if the face of the driver is not the same as the one on the app, if the plate number doesn't tally. And then when you get into the ride, share your trip. We also have introduced something that we call anomaly, trip anomalies or monitoring. So once you're on a ride now, what we can do is we call in. If you notice that it's going off or you're on one spot for too long, we actually now start to call you to say, are you okay? Is anything happening at your end? Or we send a message to say, we've noticed you haven't moved, you've been static. Driver, are you okay? Passenger, are you okay? So we're doing those checks in between. We've also introduced the rider verification for the safety of the driver. So the riders need to take a picture. Right now it's still optional, but we're pushing for regulation that will make it compulsory across all the platforms. So anybody getting on a trip on a ride-hailing platform will be required to take a picture of themselves and put it on their profile. So you're able to verify. We've also been able to identify the hotspots. So if you're picking up a ride from a hotspot, we notify you that this is a hotspot. It's a danger zone. Are you sure you want to pick up a ride from this area? So those are things that we're doing. I think in the past, I think something we have to do more is a lot of education. There's actually regulation for the transport sector, but what we need to do more is bring dignity to the trade and also have a lot of awareness and implementation drive so that people understand what they need to do. So in the past, we've tried a program where we try to sponsor entrepreneurs to have to be more inclusive. So for example, drivers that would take on rides for disabled people. But at the end of the day, what we found out that to even get the equipment to put the ramp on the cars was at a cost that the drivers couldn't even afford. And by the time they put that on, and we put the trips out there, the people with disabilities are unable to actually afford those trips. So there's that gap as well, and we're still trying to figure out, okay, how do we bring the balance to this? And then for women, I fought so much, for women to have inclusive transport. So we had the women on women rides that we introduced. And the funny thing was that women were the ones that had we do this rating. They gave the worst rating, and we had to close that category. And that's because of bias. And that bias is women can drive.
Oh.
Yeah. And you see that a woman actually orders a ride, and a woman gets there. And she says, oh, they send a message on the app. It's a woman. We're not getting in this car. Why? What's the problem? Was she, And they say, no, women can't drive. So there's still that bias. So what we did was we started doing we started doing tactical driving trainings for women, putting messaging out there to actually let them know that on the platform, women actually have the lowest, issues of rating on the platform. So there's still a lot of awareness. There's still a lot of work that needs to be done with regards to implementation and enforcement of the regulations that we have on board.
Thank you very much, Waimi. I want to do something very quick, and I'll come to DCC or Madachi. Is it true that women can't drive? Let's look at your data. Who do you arrest more, men or women? All right, but let me come to my real question, because I think I prefer to actually get into a taxi when a woman is driving, because I know women are better at multitasking, so they're able to see everything. Yeah, thank you very much. I'm sure my wife and daughters are watching. They're like, we're proud of you. When you come home, you'll sleep in the house tonight. But it's true. It's true. I enjoy, when my wife drives, almost like, thank God I can rest. But DCC, let's talk about road safety enforcement and reducing accidents. How tough is it for you, and how can we collaborate really to ensure that we make our roads safer?
Sorry? Thank you very much for the question, and I'm happy to be here. I don't know whether it's still afternoon or evening. In road safety, when we talk about challenges of the road, it varies from point to another point. For instance, the challenges you face in Abuja is different from the ones you face in Lagos or even my village. People in Lagos who are more concerned about the grid road, traffic grid road. My village, somebody wants the road to be tarred, the potholes clear, so that he or the woman can take her goods from the smallest place to another place where they can sell. In Abuja here, we have good roads. Then when you want to talk about challenges of traffic in Abuja, what we face in the Abuja city is different from what we face in the urban, satellite towns. What we do is this. We have so many units or things on board. Like monthly, we do what we call road, we call it road audit. At the same time, we call it traffic count. Let me use an example from people moving from a place like Maraba to this. You have more influx in the morning, and the same thing when you are going out. So with that record, we'll be able to know the number of vehicles who are going, and we suggest to the necessary agents, we think so vehicles are put there. Then it comes to enforcement. Because of insecurity and violence, we tell people, before you enter any vehicle, make sure your vehicle is properly registered. We have the National Vehicle Identification Scheme. That is where your vehicles are registered with data and everything. So before you enter any vehicle, make sure that vehicle is registered. It has a plate number. Any vehicle you see that does not have a plate number, please don't enter the vehicle. And we do necessary enforcement. You must be licensed before you can ply our road. So those little things, we put them into check. Then when the road is constructed, we go through them and see. Before it starts, we are involved. After the construction, we do what we call road audit. And if there are faults that are found, we make suggestions to the necessary organization who are in charge, like FEMA, the Ministry of Works, and so on and so forth. We don't just enforce. We have what we call public enlightenment session that we go to the market. Some of you here can testify. We go to the market, we go to the mosque, we go to the church, and so many organizations. And again, we have flyers. We send out to people. Then, when my senior brother from Peace Transmit was talking, he said exactly what is done. We have a session what we call RTSS, that is the Road Transport Standardization Safety Scheme. We go there when you have a fleet that is above 5, we are there to teach you how to go about it. You are supposed to have a safety manager to check what is supposed to be done, how to carry out your data, check the drivers. While some days, maybe like 3 days or 4 in every quarter, we do what we call free safety check no booking, nothing. We bring your vehicle, we check, and there's a ticket, we say this and this and this are not good, go and fix, and nobody enforces anything. And I tell you, in an organization, you are supposed to monitor something and there's no enforcement, it becomes a drama, it becomes an entertainment. We are not interested in, booking people or anything, but there have to be enforcement for people to sit up. Let me just say something. I'm very emotional when it comes to women harassment in transportations.
Right.
Because people will not look at vehicles, maybe most of these people that perpetrate this are very clean vehicles. Very, very clean. You enter it, you think you are safe. And they're embarrasses you or harasses you. When they talk about harassment, what people think mostly is about it's not only sexual harassment, verbal embarrassment, I think is the worst. You go to the park, you want to enter, I hear one man load there say, now 2 people I want to take. That means they're talking about your size. As a woman, women are very conscious of their size, whether you like it or not. A little baby, they just give birth to a baby, then you go there and say, oh, beautiful baby. The next thing, she'll start smiling. Then you go there and say, which kind of picking them born like this?
Apologies, I have to butt in now. I mean, you're speaking to very important points, but because of time and because we need to capture other views, I want to come to the Permanent Secretary of Transportation Ministry in the FCTA, Mrs. Florence Okonkwo. Then I'll come to Dr. Ajayi to speak to research and how we move forward with this so we can manage our time well. I know President Bola Tinubu has spoken about how he wants to make Abuja a world-class city, and that's what the FCT minister is pursuing day and night. Sometimes we wonder if he gets to sleep sometimes, but you can't have a world-class city without world-class transportation that is accessible to everyone, so no one is left behind. So maybe you can speak to us about the government policies, things you're implementing to ensure inclusion and the rest.
Thank you very much, and thank you for having me. Good afternoon, everybody. I think this is a very good platform to actually tell FCT residents what the Bola Ahmed Tinubu administration is doing to ensure. I was listening to, I really didn't get his name, but I was listening to him speak and say he was coming from Abidjan. There they have everything worked out fine. A few weeks ago, we were at the bus terminals. I think it was on air, and this administration has built 2 bus terminals. They were actually supposed to be 3, one in Kubo, one in Mabushi, and then there's another one at the central business district there. And these are terminals, bus and taxi terminals that can be compared to terminals anywhere in the world. They have world-class facilities. We have CCTV cameras there. We have escalators. We have elevators. I mean, when the president commissioned the Mabushi terminal, he said, these terminals are built for safety, they are built for comfort, and they are built to help solve the problem of one chance. And I think with time, these terminals will be all over the satellite towns too. And we're not going to be having you stand by the roadside, take a taxi or take a bus. It will be expected that you go to the bus terminal to take transport. That's on one side. There at the Transport Secretariat, we're also partnering with stakeholders now because we want to profile our drivers. And then before we take all your details, we have registration numbers on the side of taxis. If you don't see a registration number on any taxi you want to board, you don't board. And then we're looking forward to situations where you can book on your phone, and that captures the details of the driver. Everything about the driver is captured. So, for instance, you come, you want to board a taxi, and you see that the driver that came is not the picture that appeared on your phone. And even if it is the same picture you bought, that app is to have a panic, when you feel unsafe, a panic button you can just press and then everything. So I think this present FCT minister is very serious and is determined not to leave any stone unturned in seeing to it that the Bola Ahmed Tinubu's vision of making FCT very safe is achieved in the shortest possible time. If we talk about roads, like our minister would always say, we can't do all of the roads in one day. This afternoon, I rushed in from one of the satellite towns, I think that's Karo, where we were flagging off the construction of some roads within Karo. Karo town or satellite town.
Right.
Yeah. And then, there and then, he was mentioning about 4 other roads that will be constructed. So you see, with all this in place, I think by the end of, as time goes on, they would have, Abuja will be a proud place for everybody to stay.
Thank you very much. Let's put our hands together for her. All right, Dr. Ajayi, I deliberately arranged it like this so you can, end this session with research-backed recommendations for sustainable transport. So something like a takeaway, an action plan, because everyone has spoken about the work they're doing, talked about the challenges, but what does research say, and how can we have sustainable transport?
Good afternoon. Good afternoon, everyone, and thank you for having me. I want to start by saying that the previous speakers have actually made my work very easy. You helped read out some statistics, and those are very valid statistics. And those statistics are not just statistics. They represent missed opportunities. They represent systemic exclusion and lost dignity of people. And I would just like to add a bit to that research. Do you know that up to 54% of people do not have access to transit stops within 10 minutes walking distance from their homes? That is the real danger. If people cannot access transit stops easily, they are susceptible to all kinds of safety risks. And
sorry, is that the same as bus stops?
Yes.
Okay. For some of us who don't know the big English, so bus stop, sorry, go ahead, please.
All right. So, going forward, we must see certain dimensions. And the first dimension I would like to invite us to see, the previous speaker before me already said what the government is doing. Beautiful. The government is doing a whole lot. And we know that the budget is constrained. Government cannot do everything all at once. So what are we going to do? Our design must be human-centered. We must plan for the people. We must not plan so that the government will look good. We must plan so that the people the government is serving will be good. So
say that again, say that again, say that again.
We must plan, we must plan for the people. We must not plan so that the government will look good. We must plan so that the people will be good. So that is one. And secondly, we must be proactive. So there are 3 levels in gender inclusion, disability inclusion for transport, for mobility. The first is what we call gender sensitivity. Now, we are talking about gender inclusion, disability inclusion, beautiful. We are being sensitive to their needs. We are aware that there is a problem. So the next level is where we are talking about gender responsiveness, disability responsiveness. We are adapting our policies, right? We are seeing, oh, this is what we can do better. We cannot, if a building has been constructed without consideration for physically disabled people, you would not just bring down the whole building in a day. You just have to adapt. That is gender responsiveness. But the third and most important point, and why we are here today and where we must go forward, is what we call gender transformative approach to transport planning. gender transformative approach to transport planning. And that means that we must go to the root cause of this problem. We must identify social norms, why people behave the way they behave, why this problem exists really. This is where we go, and this is how we are going to know. So how? We need data. Now, I am not sure, but I would have loved to ask maybe security personnel here, how many reported cases of one chance can we account for? Is it easy for people to report these cases? Can they report without being scared? How easy is technology close to them to ensure that they can report without feeling threatened, without going through another stress, without adding to their PTSD, post-traumatic stress disorder? So these are the issues. And if we must do this, we must then begin to invite these people and sit down with them at the round table so that when we are planning the policies, at the points where we are designing the research, and we need a lot of awareness. We need mass awareness, and I think that is your forte, sir, Mr. Moderator.
Well, it's a job for everyone to do, but thank you very much. I'm told that our time is up totally. In fact, I overshot the time by about 5 minutes, but we have to thank you so much. Dr. Julius Oluwafumini Ajayi, Transport and Logistics Specialist. We've also had Mr. Enaoro Okai, CEO, God is Good Motors. That's GIG Motors. Thank you very much for your time. DCC Okwe Ekwe Omadachi, Head AHR, Federal Road Safety Corps. Thank you very much for your time and your contributions, as well as Waimi Agadiuno, Head of Regulatory and Policy Africa, Bolt, Nigeria. And of course, we've had Madam Florence Okonkwo, FCTA Permanent Secretary in the Ministry of Transportation. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much. And we wish you the very best in implementing all of these suggestions and building policies that make our transportation more sustainable and safer. Thank you very much. Please let's put our hands together for our plenary panelists. Thank you.